So many people are living faithful lives, but still dragging around regret, shame, and the what ifs. God doesn't just forgive your past, He invites you to stop carrying it. You didn't heal by pretending it didn't happen. You heal by letting God redeem. Freedom starts when you stop punishing yourself for what Jesus has already paid for. Some of us have been carrying something for years, something God already forgave in a moment. And the truth is, it's not about God holding it over you anymore. It's you. Here's the question. What would your life look like if you finally put it down? And friends, this is Crazy Unbelievable Faith.
Feeling stuck? You're not alone. Welcome to Crazy Unbelievable Faith, the podcast where Brian and Kersha get real about identity, marriage, mental health, and faith in a noisy, disconnected world. Each episode is a breath of fresh air rooted in faith, rich in vulnerability, and filled with hope. Subscribe now and go deeper at crazyunbelievablefaith.com for behind-the-scenes access to the book, podcast, and community. Because God's plan for your life is crazier, deeper, and more beautiful than you could ever imagine.
Welcome back to another episode of Crazy Unbelievable Faith. I am your co-host Brian Owen alongside my wife Kersha.
Hi, how are you?
Third or fourth outtake of this. So if you're not actively subscribed and following, please do so. That's how our community continues to grow. And if there's something of value you get out of this, please share it with people. That's the whole purpose and premise around this, was to bring hope and encouragement to people. And as our inner circle has taken off and it's continuing to grow, that is just something that we want more and more people to be plugged into. Just kind of hearing more of the behind the scenes. Sometimes people will say, well, how do I get more Brian and Kersha? Sometimes they don't. That's fine. So today's episode though, rock and roll.
Woo!
Hopefully the timer doesn't go off on the oven again as we're recording.
It just went off. It
smells like fresh baked muffins in our house though. It's a shame you can't have this. They could make a scratch and sniff
episode.
Remember those?
Yeah.
Oh man, growing up that was so fun.
They still
Scratch
have them.
Sniffs. And the markers.
They still have those.
What were they? Mr. Sketch? What were they?
Mr. Sketch.
Oh, the apple, the green apple one, and the grape.
Sniff and Sketch.
See, all these people are listening right now. Now you're thinking about these things. Well, just think about that.
The childhood memories.
And a blueberry,
orange,
a blueberry flavor. That's what our house smells like. Right? Blueberry muffins.
Okay. The cherry ones were nasty.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Disgusting.
Today's episode is about the weight you weren't meant to carry. Woof.
Yeah.
So this one's going to be real nice and deep. We're going to jump in here on regret.
Regret. Okay.
So many people are living faithful lives, but still dragging around regret, shame, and the what ifs.
Yeah.
If we all had hindsight, if we all could go back and relive life with the lessons learned.
Yeah. Hey, I just had that conversation last night with our oldest daughter. I said, if we could rewind the clock 10 years ago, because she'll be 16 this year, next month.
Yeah.
Like if you could rewind the clock 10 years, it's just crazy. It just flies by.
And she said the decisions you were making 10 years ago wouldn't lead you to where you are today.
It's true.
And she said in 10 years, you'll have the same. Ask, what could we have done different 10 years ago?
Yeah.
And I said, and in 20 years from now, we're going to be grandparents.
Yeah. Then I became emotional yesterday. Yeah, it was a weird day.
Whew.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Let that one be.
Here is a big truth for all of us. God doesn't just forgive your past, He invites you to stop carrying it.
Yeah.
Whew. Yep. Somewhere along the way, we've picked up something heavy. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe it was a decision you knew better than to make. Maybe it was something you can't undo. So maybe it was something that somebody else did and it impacted you.
Yeah.
And now, even though life has moved on, our heart hasn't. What if we told you you were never meant to carry that weight this long?
Yep.
The silent burden of regret. Regret doesn't always look loud or dramatic. It shows up as overthinking, shame, self-sabotage, I could have or I should have, and eventually turns into I would have.
Mm-hmm.
But never is it I did. So, Psalm 38 talks about guilt. My guilt has overwhelmed me like a burden too heavy to bear. I think that was one of the ones Pastor Sean was talking about. Psalm 38. Shame 38.
I like shame 38.
Shame 38.
We'll go with psalm over shame. That's fine. Yeah.
Psalm, shame, whatever. Some people aren't stuck because God hasn't moved. They're stuck because they won't put down the weight.
Yeah. Well, I think to me personally, there's a lot of nights if I'm wrestling with something or if I've wrestled with stuff during the day, at nighttime, just to calm my mind, or as we're in prayer, going to bed, it's like you have to set it at his feet and let him take it. And if it's thing he needs me to pick up the next day, I'll pick it up the next day. But if it's not, that's just me at the end of the day, relinquishing things to him. And there's things throughout the day too that you have to, again, it's not my fight, it's not my burden to carry, it's not my fault that, XYZ is happening. There's other components to it that come into play.
Yeah.
Your eyelashes, your fluttering eyelashes falling off, or what's happening in this?
No, I got something in my eye.
My goodness. Okay. Well, you mean to read the rest of this here? You gonna be okay? All right.
No. But you mentioned something. You said a weight that God asks you to set down at the end of the day and you pick up the next day.
If it needs to be picked up the next day.
Okay, but today's episode is talking about weights that don't need to be picked back up.
But I'm just saying, yeah.
So, let's talk about Peter's failure. Peter boldly followed Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Then, he denied him 3 times in one night.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did he say, I said I'd never fall, I failed when it mattered most. Could you imagine the pain and the regret that Peter went through the next day?
Yeah.
He denied him. He said he'd always follow him the rest of his days of his life.
To death. Yeah, he would. Yeah.
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 And so Jesus didn't disqualify Peter in that failure.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, he showed up and he restored him.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, if Jesus can do it for Peter, he can do it for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us still, the finite pieces, the finite particles of who we currently are, still has a really hard idea with when Jesus died for us. He died for everything that I have done. He died for everything that you have done. He died for everything that Brian has done. Like, he has died for all of humanity's sins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So why are we still carrying weight and regret and shame and guilt if they've all been forgiven? So, in many times, this is like an act of restoration. We need to go to Jesus and say, I am carrying this, and we need to hand it off, right?
Some of it could be that literally God is waiting for you to hand that off to him.
Right.
Where he knows, I mean, he knows our last breath, the end of, like, he knows all of that. It's already written in his world.
But God doesn't come to shame.
No.
He comes to restore.
Correct. But until we can, again, like you said,
we
lay
have
that
to
down,
admit that fault.
lay that down at his feet, we have to let light into that dark spot.
We have to hand it off
Yeah.
instead of holding it.
Well, think about your relay runners, They gotta hand the baton off. It'd be kind of goofy to hold on the baton, and another person hold on the baton trying to run with it.
So what happens when the baton falls?
Somebody picks it up and runs with it.
But it's caused a delay.
That's correct.
So
You're welcome for that analogy, by the way.
you're
Golly.
so good, baby.
Yeah.
You so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. Let's talk about a relationship failure. So we're gonna have story time with Kersha. Recently, I reached out to one of my uncles. A lot of you don't know, and you have really honestly no reason to know, but I come from a hard past. I wasn't into drugs, never have ever touched an illegal drug, but never ever have
Never
I.
ever. Yeah, that's it.
Never ever have I.
Yeah.
Nor ever will I. I come from a very unstable household, and about 17 years ago, come August, I was forced to have the choice to walk away from a family I loved very dearly. But I needed to for the healthiness of me. I needed to walk away. Now, I didn't really have a choice in this. I was given a choice, and I made my choice very clear that I was going to establish a healthy future for myself, and walk away from the unhealthiness of that. So where this uncle comes into play is, I reached out. He looks very happy. He, he's moved, and every time I see a picture of him, he's just really happy. And I wanted to let him know that I'm paying attention. And in the restoration of that relationship, because it's been 7 years since I've talked to him, it came that that we've missed each other. And when I walked away from that family, I walked away from people that I loved because of one person. And ultimately, I have given that one person more control than, today, and more so than yesterday, did I realize that that person still has control, and I need to take that away. I need to take the control back. And so, it was such a good, healthy healing yesterday to have such a healthy conversation with my uncle about things going on, and some insight. But it also was a failure. I failed 17 years ago. I failed myself today in this moment. And those are lessons that I had to learn. And I'm not gonna sit and live in regret. I just need to move forward and make corrections as I press forward. I can't live behind a wall and love from there and show love and grace and mercy when I'm living behind something where they can't see me and I can't see them. And so that's definitely a wrong decision that I made, and it has real consequences. It did, not only did that decision hurt me, it hurt him. And even though we emotionally understand, there is still some pain there. And so walking forward in faith and in grace and in love and mercy, he's always been there. He was always a good influence, and he always took care of me in the situations we were ever faced in. And so I just, I wanted to share. It's fresh, it's raw, it's real.
But I think also with your story though, thinking about it, like, yes, it was painful, and there was things you kind of, I'm not gonna say masked over or buried maybe is the better word.
Mm-hmm.
That in the right time, God guides you to where those layers start to peel back.
Mm-hmm.
The scales are removed from your eyes to see things differently. And there's a lot of people that are on their deathbeds,
Before they see it.
Yes, before they start to realize, gosh, maybe I shouldn't have been so stubborn. Maybe I shouldn't have, held on so tight to this one thing. And, again, to each their own, if that's what people choose to do. But like what you're working through and walking through that as you're sharing, like there are things that you weren't prepared for 5 years ago, even
Right.
2 years ago, even
Right.
to have had this. And so there's a preparedness that's happening inside of you at the core,
Right.
that God's been working on. It's just some of us it just takes time. That's all.
Right. And yesterday I felt that pain of regret. And cried about it. And that's okay. But it's the revelation that allows us to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And we can either sit in that revelation, or we can utilize that revelation to pull us out of that pain.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the last episode was about leading with your heart. And it's just asking God, like, is this the right time? Is this the right time to repair and restore certain relationships, and bring insight to those relationships? Because ultimately, he's a victim of the fallout of what took place between me and this person that thinks that he reigns the whole family.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't.
Well, there's even, and not just taking your situation, but compounding it for others, maybe in our listening group. Like there's friend groups that you go through. There's seasons of life that you go through with people.
Mm-hmm.
There's reasons that they're in your life. Sometimes people are there for life. But those that come into your life for a season, sometimes people will take it personally of, why did we drift away? Why did, now they're doing this, now they're doing that. It's not anything personally on you. It's just that's where life has led people. But you were in their life for a period. Maybe you planted seeds in their life. Maybe they planted seeds in your life. But then there's others that are in your life for a reason, and they might direct you down somewhere. They might get you hired onto a job somewhere. They may, lead your family to move to another community, or get involved in another church, or, social group, something like that. And then you have those that are just in your life for life. And that's your core group of people. And I think if you can count, which has always been said, if you can count at the end of your life on one hand, people that you could call no matter when or where or what time, they would answer and they would help out. And it's funny because there's a set, you have to have six pallbearers have to carry a casket. So you really need 5 plus 1, but that's fine. But those are very few and far relationships to be found, where you can pick up the phone and you just pick up like it was just yesterday. I mean,
Yeah.
Literally, when I think about my own, it's still working on that handful. I mean, it's not full yet. But the way society spins it with social media.
Some have dropped off.
Yeah. And then some have dropped off because they're living their lives and doing things. But it's a phone call or a text, and then you just pick right back up where you are.
Yeah. Some have dropped off because they've already made it to heaven.
That's correct. Yeah.
So.
But I think it's just, we get this false sense of, I have all of these friends, and gosh, I'm going to, FOMO. I'm going to miss out on something. And it's like, you really aren't.
No.
At the end of the day.
So, something that I think is super important for all of us to remember is, you didn't heal by pretending it didn't happen. You heal by letting God redeem what did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We all feel this way, that the lie is we have to live with it forever. And this is oftentimes where a lot of us just get stuck in the lie. We think, God forgave me, but I still deserve to feel this way. And this is just my consequence.
Yeah.
But Scripture says otherwise. It says, there is now no condemnation in Romans 8:1. And the truth is, conviction leads you to God. Condemnation keeps you from him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to repeat that. Conviction leads you to God. Condemnation keeps you from him. So if you're living or if you're feeling condemned by something, just automatically know that that's Satan.
Yeah, God is not in the business of making you feel guilty or shame or any, like that's not the fruit of the Spirit.
He's in the business of helping you get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Helping
Correct.
you heal from it, helping you restore yourself, helping you bring light into the darkness.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the shame, the guilt, all of that is not from God. That is Satan creeping into any crack, any crevice, and that is something we all have to be mindful of on a daily, sometimes it's a daily basis, sometimes it's a minute by minute basis that people struggle, and you just have to remind yourself, okay, that's not from God.
Right. Jesus in the heavy exchange. Scripture says, come to me and I will give you rest. This is all over the Gospel of Matthew. Okay? This isn't poetic, it's transactional. What we bring to the table is we bring regret, shame, a heavy heart. And what Jesus gives us is rest, peace, and restoration. But here's where the tension gets raw. If we bring that to the table and we don't let go of it, we carry that with us. So we have to actually let go. And the saying is, let go and let God.
That's what I was just thinking about as you said that. All the wristbands, the bumper stickers, the slogans people have on their shirts, let go, let God.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And so how do we release the regret? I think that that's a big question. Today at church, our pastor was talking about, submit yourself before God, invite him into your heart, invite him to bring light to a specific area that is still dark, right? So, but we need to name it. And if you don't know it's there, ask God to help you. Then we need to confess it. Then we need to receive forgiveness. We need to stop rehearsing it. Oh my gosh. All of us overthinkers out there. I am one of them. All of us overthinkers. We need to stop rehearsing in our mind what we're going to say to God, how God is going to restore us, how God is going to redeem us, how we're going to make it right with that person. What if they say this? What if I don't say this? This is a point I have. It's simply, I am sorry. Please forgive me.
I don't go this deep as she's just went in that whole rehearsal piece. I don't even go that far. But the example I can share today is at church. A friend of ours, she had come to me a week or so ago. We were talking, and I was like, hey, did you ever talk to the pastor about that? No. I said, hey, let's go find the pastor right now. And her eyes were about saucer size. We went and found Pastor Sean, had a conversation, and I saw her later, and she's like, thank you so much. Because in her mind, she had overplayed these things a million different ways. Instead of just having a conversation and letting someone else speak into her. And again, don't have to have all the answers. I understand that, but just
the whole men are from
rehearse it.
Mars, women are from Venus. I really think men are from meatball land and women are from spaghetti noodle land. Because a woman's mind is a noodle. And it goes around and around and around, and it weaves through others. And when you pull up the noodles on your spork, because everybody knows we want to eat spaghetti with a spork instead of a fork and not a spoon, because we need it to wind around, right? But we need the fork to stab it and start twisting. Okay, and a man's mind is a meatball. It. Just wherever it drops in the spaghetti noodles is that thought for that minute, and it's gone.
It's a good analogy. I'm comfortable where I stand. That's right. And I'm just a big pile of meat. That's all I am.
Okay, so
rolled up in a ball.
As we bring this in for a close today, here are some key teaching points that I want you guys and us all, myself included, to think about. Regret becomes heavy when you carry what God has already covered. God doesn't erase your past, He redeems it. And number 3, freedom starts drumroll please, when you stop punishing yourself for what Jesus has already paid for.
Yeah.
So, some of us have been carrying something for years, something God already forgave in a moment. And the truth is, it's not about God holding it over you anymore. It's you.
Yeah.
So, here's the question. What would your life look like if you finally put it down? And friends, this is Crazy Unbelievable Faith, where even your deepest regret doesn't get the final word.
Good. That's good. Well, I'm just a big pile of meatballs sitting up here in a stack of noodles, so I don't have anything
Hey,
to
at
close
least you know
to
it's
that.
my noodles.
That's right. Hopefully they held on to that string that kept going through all those points. It's fine.
Oh,
No, it was good.
goodness.
No, I think people need to let go.
And let God.
Let God, as you said. Yeah.
Just know God is greater than all your highs and all your lows.
That's right.
Everything in between.
So until next time, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Crazy Unbelievable Faith. Have a great day.